Greetings from London. This is Mariam Sharif, and you're listening and watching the Star Moguls podcast. Today's guest is an absolutely delightful lady. I'm honored to have her on the show. She's one of my, I would say, most favorite ladies in the UK. She's so inspirational. She is the founder and chairman of the Women of Future. She's a food guru, author, and a motivational speaker. I had to write it all down because there's so much that she does. So welcome, Pinky Lilani.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for asking me. I am so thrilled to be on the show.
Thank you so much. You know, I've styled you for events. For a photo shoot for International Women's Day. We've worked together. I've attended your events, and you know what? I was thinking the other day that the Asian Women Achievement Awards is the first time I attended. That was by an invitation from a friend of mine. And she said, because one of my colleagues is getting nominated, would you like to attend these events? And I was like, I just moved to London. I said, okay, yes, let's attend. They were at the Park Lane Hilton, which is your signature. And what a beautiful event. I was mesmerized by the successful ladies, but stylish also. And just what a room filled of warmth and energy. And you just effortlessly just hosted this event. I was in awe. So I've been a fan of the event. You know, I've styled it for the 10th anniversary. I was there with you for that. But you know, it's just gone from strength to strength, and I really miss it. You know, during this time of COVID, that is one event that is kind of your signature event. I absolutely have missed this. That always in the highlight and my calendar. So how have you been coping with during this COVID and this time where we can't do events? You must be missing them as well.
Absolutely. I try not to think about it because I think when we think about it, we feel really sad, but also feel very joyous that we've done so much. And I think with everything we do in life, there's always a silver lining. Every downturn has an upturn. And so I think when we all get back together, we will really value that encounter. So, yeah, I'm sad, but I think we found ways of communicating. We're so lucky to have Zoom. We can still talk to people. So I must say, I've got on and really, I'm really surprised, managed quite well.
So you're managing with your Zoom meetings and technology and getting online quite well.
Very well. We've using another platform which is absolutely phenomenal in terms of networking called Remo. I have a lot of phone conversations too because I think one-to-one conversations are really important. And I continue my crusade of actually really getting to know people, what makes them, so successful or what is really their pain. And so yesterday was really interesting. I spoke to three scientists who are shortlisted for our Women of the Future Awards, which is going to take place on the 4th. And it was fascinating to talk to them. Each one of them was in a different field, and I learned. And I think, Mariam, the ethos of my whole life is about curiosity. It's about
Yes,
learning
yes.
every single day.
I love
And so
that. I absolutely love this whole being curious about life, and then having to investigate each chapter of your life and where it unfolds and what happens. Do you feel that being online, you've got to know people in a different manner, and you've got to know a different side to them than you would have in maybe an event? Is there a difference that you've noticed with the transition of meeting people online and having that different kind of relationship and communication?
well, I think the main thing is to get to know people. And so we find different ways. And I think obviously it's not the same. Actually, when you're on a Zoom call, you can pick up emotions just as you do when you're with someone.
Yes.
But I think, yes, I've got to know them really well. I feel very, very at home. And I think, you always know when something goes from the heart, it goes to somebody else's heart. And we can do that through Zoom too. So, seeing you just now with your warmth and your energy and your smile, for me, I think it would be just the same you sitting over my coffee table and having coffee with me.
Absolutely, and there's something that you've touched on is energy, and firstly, I used to think, oh my God, how will it translate online, and how is it? But you know, we all have a vibration and this energy that that kind of enters the room, or it enters any place. It could be at any platform. I've been using this kind of app recently called Clubhouse, and it's an audio form where creatives and just people are getting together from all forms and all backgrounds, and something that you must get on it. it's absolutely amazing. And even on that, you can feel the presence of people, the way they speak, their tone, that, it's a variant of things. So very interesting how technology is kind of using, we're using these tools to communicate through COVID. And it's been a real difficult time for everyone. What do you feel like is one of your main challenges that you've dealt with through this whole time in this last year? Was there a point where you found it very difficult, and how did you overcome that?
Well, I think, the main challenge for us is so much of my business and my whole ethos was events based. It's meeting face to face, of inviting people to my home. I'm constantly inviting people for lunches and
I
getting
know,
them
and
to
I
meet
must
each other.
say, I must have to
Obviously, that
interrupt you.
all
Absolutely. And I've been to Pinky's house a couple of times for lunches, and what an amazing spread. You know what it is? I feel like that the food is soul food. It's something created with so much love, and there's so much conversation going on around food. What do you think? Do you think food's quite a big part of, our lives, and especially you, because you actually started with food, didn't you? You actually are a food expert. You actually, that's one of your loves of your life. How did you get started with that?
Well, I think, when I came from India many, many moons ago, I didn't know how to cook because obviously in Calcutta we had a wonderful chef. And so I learned to cook. And I think, food is such a great part of socialization. In India, all of us grew up having meals with the family every single day. All the meals were had together. And that kind
Right.
of is where you had conversation, your emotional sustenance. And, having people over was part of in my parents' house, at least 3, 4 days a week, there'd be people coming over to eat. And there was a real, when I came here and you want to meet new people, it's such a great way of getting to know them by inviting them. So I
Yes.
learned to cook. And for me, food became a way of building relationships, of building a network of amazing people. You get to know people so well when you have a meal with them. And
Yeah.
also, obviously,
When you
part
break
of my
bread with
leadership
somebody, yeah, they say, that there's a saying, isn't it? When you break bread with somebody, you get to know somebody.
more than that, I think going back to food, it's a way of nurturing people. So when you invite people to your home and you cook for them, it's almost as if you're nurturing them. So there's a wonderful sense of emotional attachment to people. So I think it goes back to cooking when people say, "Oh, my mother was the best cook in the world," because a mother cooks with love normally, and so therefore the food tastes good. And we know that energy goes into food. So if you cook with negative energy, the food will never taste that good. So I think food is a great way of building a relationship, of feeling that somebody cares about you. And I think once that's done, then relationships thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? Like where you said that actually nurturing relationships, and I think people are so in this fast-paced world that we live in. I think people just are not building those meaningful relationships. And what I found in this last year, that people have actually slowed down, and have actually got to know themselves and have that time to reflect, and then actually kind of relate on a deeper level with someone. And I think that's a beautiful reflection, and something, that a blessing, that a gift that's come from this 1 year of difficulty and challenges, for sure.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it has been a turning point in many people's lives. I don't think we'll ever go back to the way we used to be. But there'll be a new reality, a new world, and it's how we adjust to that will actually define our success.
Yes. So I was actually looking at your bio, and your titles always keep on changing. The awards that you have, and what is your title? So I was looking at your title again recently, because obviously we haven't spoken for a little while. So it's CBD. CBEDL, and I actually had to look up the DL because I didn't really understand. So it's the highest award given by the state, isn't it? By the Queen.
It's not the highest award. The highest one is a DBE, which is a Dame of the British Empire,
Oh,
Commander of the
right,
British, whereas
right. Okay, okay. I didn't see that on the list. Yeah.
I'm a commander of the Order of the British Empire, and then DL stands for Deputy Lieutenant. So there's a Lord Lieutenant in London who represents the Queen, and there are 90 deputy lieutenants who support him. and it's a kind of appointment that's made for till you're 75, and it's not one of those appointments you can say, oh, can I be a DL, or can I, you can't ask for it. It's absolutely, it's a gift of the Queen, and it's a gift of the lieutenancy. They find people and they actually ask you if you want to be after they've vetted you out. So I became a DL in 2014.
Wow. And that's a great testimony to all the work and that you've done over the years. And it really shows that. How is that feeling when you do get awarded such an award? Because, even at the Asian Women Achievement Awards or the Future of Women Awards, when someone gets an award for their achievements, it's a beautiful feeling. Awards don't mean anything but the work that you do, but having been recognized and celebrating that success is something that I love. I love the fact that ethos where you celebrate each other, and women need to, and this is one thing that I found, Pinky, that women don't celebrate their achievements enough. And so when I attended the awards, I just love that whole concept of really celebrating our strengths and our achievements. So how did you feel, firstly, of the award that you were given, and the awards, and then the successes of women that you see at your award ceremonies?
Well, I think, when you get awards like this, I was hugely honored. But I think, you kind of, I don't think you should ever take anything too seriously. I think people who take themselves too seriously, it was just another step in the journey. I mean, I was, it was wonderful. It was wonderful for my family because, they've been so much part of my journey. And for them, it was a great accolade that I'd got it. So I think that was important. I think with the lieutenancy, it can be a very hands-on role. You're invited sometimes when the Lord Lieutenant goes to receive the Queen and the royal family at every event they go to in London. So sometimes when he can't go, he actually asks one of the deputy lieutenants to go in his place. And the
Oh,
only time I've been
wonderful.
asked to go and do that was when Prince William was attending a dinner, and I had to actually receive him at that dinner and then introduce him to the people who were hosting the dinner. And then I had to make sure and take him back to his car when it was all over. So that was, that's some of the exciting points. But it's really part of the lieutenancy is to find people who deserve to be recognized, to really have your eye on what's happening in London. So I think
Yes.
with every award, it's an honor, but I don't think you should take it too seriously and become full of yourself.
Yes, I was going to say, the fact that you are so busy, like with attending events, if it's not your own, or attending and supporting other women, you're a big believer of supporting women. How how does how does that relationship, or how does that as a family unit? So how does your husband deal with all of this, and is he a great supporter? Because I believe that when you're on a mission, you have great visions for women, and what you want to do, quite ambitious women. How does your husband feel, and how do you manage your home and work life?
Well, I think it's just a matter. I'm very, very lucky by, God's grace. My husband and my two sons are my greatest supporters, and they're all feminists. So I'm, very lucky in that way. They've never held me back. They've always been
Mm.
there when I've had a hard time or when I'm kind of despairing. And I think you manage everything because I think when they say when you commit yourself, then providence moves too. So it's just a matter of, kind of juggling different things and making sure it happens. I make sure that I cook every single day. That's very important because
Oh,
once your
wonderful.
family are well fed, you don't have to worry too much. And because I enjoy cooking, and I do very simple dishes, I have some good help in the house. So that's all taken care of. And I think then you have to prioritize as to what's important because obviously all kinds of invitations come. And as much as you sometimes like to go to everything, you can't. So it really has to be a question of where am I adding value? And if it's something that someone else can be doing instead of me, I would rather give someone else an opportunity. So I think that has been the way I've dealt with it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you know you have those supporters, and you know I think when you are when you are on such a mission and you want to do great work, you have to have great support behind you, because you can't accomplish all those things, and you want those people to kind of be proud of what you do also. So having that relation, that beautiful relationship that you have with your husband and your family, and that they understand. So how would you how would you not convert, but how would you ask, or how would you translate that to someone or your partner or husband that doesn't understand the value of that you know, by networking or creating those relationships or attending those events? How what would you say to those women that are struggling in that area?
Yeah, I think a lot of women do struggle with not having any support. So there are two ways here. Either you try to convince your partner that that is important, that may take some time. But on the other hand, then you actually become so determined that you're going to do it. Because I think we all have barriers. And I've known many women who probably had, you know, abuse in their house, had every barrier and yet have succeeded. So I think then your self determination and your commitment and your absolute tenacity and resilience has to be at a much higher level. I don't think I would have been able to do what I do without the support of so many and their belief in me. I think, you know,
Yes.
a lot of women suffer from lack of self-belief. But I think I prefer that than people who think they're really great and they're not. And you know, there are a lot of people who are kind of overinflate their own role. So there's a wonderful writer, lecturer at Wharton in America, and his name is Adam Grant, and he has said, if you know information is power, then wisdom is knowing what you don't know. And I
Yes.
think that is what is so important. A lot of people think they know it all, and they don't know really half as much as they should. So the
Is,
other end of the spectrum of having great self-belief is having none. And I think it's finding the balance between the two.
is there a skill that you recognize that you didn't have and you had to really build, or you've learned along the way that's really helped you in your career? Is there something that you've learned or relearned?
I think, you know, bravery. I think, you know, to be brave, I think it's really important. Now, brave really has many facets to it. To be brave is to be able to be yourself, to be authentic, because that's when people buy into you. And I think, you know, your brand value is incredibly important. So when people meet you very quickly, they see what are the qualities that Pinky stands for, and do I want to buy into them? So I
Yeah.
think, you know, you have to decide very quickly what you stand for and be brave and ask, you know, and again, you know, if
How
you
did
don't
you
ask,
become brave, Pinky? What did you do to kind of to gain that bravery? Because you know you said that to be brave, but how did you accomplish bravery then? What did you do? Did you go out of your comfort zone, or did you learn a new skill? What did you do to make yourself more brave?
I think, you know, you have to go out of your comfort zone. But it, for me, it was doing little bite-sized pieces. I didn't want to climb Everest. I just wanted to climb a lot of the foothills. And I
Yeah.
think that gives you additional confidence. Just as when you learn to cook and you're not sure whether it's good, you invite three people to eat dinner with you, and if it's all right, then you invite six. It's
I
a
love that.
multiplier effect. And there's some people who don't know how to do anything and they'll invite 50 people. And then they're surprised it hasn't worked. And I think that is that, you know, that reality has to kick in. So there were things that I knew. And I think we must always, Mariam, we must always play to our strengths. So
Yes,
there's
yes.
certain things we do well, there's certain things we don't. So do the things you do well, where there's passion, there's meaning, where people can pick that up. People buy into people who have warmth, who have passion, who are honest, who have integrity, who are kind. I mean, those to me are, and you have to keep learning. And that's why curiosity is
Yes,
really important, because the more you learn, you realize how little you know. And,
yes, yes.
and I think, you know, it's getting, there's so many moving parts in the puzzle, and it's being able to handle all that. Some days you can juggle everything and catch and not drop anything, and some days everything drops to the floor. And
Yeah.
don't lose hope. Bring up that one person, have a network of people you can call and say, I'm having a terrible day, and
Hmm.
just have a 5 minute call, or you know, reassess where you're going. And they're always, I find, you know, they always there's always a solution. And you will find that, but you have to look harder on some days than others.
That's great advice. You said that, like putting on an event, or even a dinner for you is more or less the same. I want to know, what's one of your most amazing events that you felt like it was a great success, that you had everybody really enjoyed it? And what's the recipe of putting on such a great event? So firstly, what is the best event that you've done and that you've thought, okay, you know what, I loved that event for whatever reason, big or small? And what do you think that was the key ingredient to put on such an amazing event?
We've done so many, over the last 22, 21 years, we've done so many Asian women of achievement. We're bursting with amazing talent and people, the women of the future. We've done events in Southeast Asia, but my favorite event was when M&G were our headline sponsors for our network. They are the sponsor of the Chelsea Flower Show. And
Right.
they told us, we will give you this amazing marquee at the Chelsea Flower Show, and you can invite 100 people for
Well,
lunch to this marquee, and then all the guests can go around the Chelsea Flower Show at no cost to them. It was the most phenomenally generous offer we have ever had. And that marquee is like to die for. I've never been inside such an amazing marquee with
wow,
joy.
amazing.
And it was a lovely day in May in the Chelsea Flower Show. And there's a real premium. We invited all kinds of people from our network, and people who I thought would never come, who were very senior, who've never come. They had never probably been to the Chelsea Flower Show or something. And so we had this amazing mix of people. And also,
It's a
what was
beautiful.
very lucky, life is about luck. A very good friend of mine called Swati Piramal, who is a really mega star in India, happened to be having the first Indian pavilion at Chelsea at the flower show. And I told her, would she come and speak? And actually, it was a combination of having the most amazing people, the best weather, the best food, very, very luxurious, really awesome marquee. And so you really realize, Mariam, that so much of success and things happening is about serendipity and luck. Because the weather could have been awful and that could have dampened it. Some people couldn't have turned up, but everyone turned up. And I think there's a real premium. What people love best is meeting other interesting people. And
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not just getting all the CEOs together. That's good. But it's that combination of getting the next generation of emerging leaders who have amazing ideas, putting them all together, people from cross-sectoral. It was, I mean, for many, many days, I just felt, oh my God, we were so lucky to have that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And Chelsea Flower Show is just amazing. If anybody hasn't been, then they must. Well, when we do have a chance to go, but there's so many great events that actually do excite us, and they're so inspirational. What inspires you, Pinky? Because obviously you're in this realm of success, and you see these people, amazing achievements. But what inspires you or motivates you on a daily basis?
Well, I think there are two things. And it's always, my whole life is focused around people. So it's always about people inspiring me. And I get inspired by young talent that is coming up who have no idea of how brilliant they are. And I love that. They have no idea how far they will go because they are just phenomenal and they're really stepping into life. So talking to these scientists yesterday from our Women of the Future Awards and hearing about a woman who's actually in her PhD developed a synthetic polymer glue that during operations is stuck so that there are no leakages. She
Wow.
and another woman who's actually looking at is an astrophysicist and looking at the stars and telling us about things we don't know about. That inspires me hugely. And
Yeah.
the fact that we can help them by opening a door, by recognizing them, by giving them a platform. But also, what inspires me is women at the other end of the spectrum, or men, who have achieved so much, but who are kind. I think kindness is at the heart of everything I do. So it's part of my own DNA and the DNA of all our programs. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I've been brave enough to put kindness out into the public domain. So we've gone to the corporate world. We launched the Kindness and Leadership 50 Leading Lights in 2018. We actually launched the list, published the list on World Kindness Day, and opened the London stock market with our brand everywhere. With
Wow.
kindness. And it became, CEOs of companies were talking about kindness. And then we took it to Southeast Asia, where the whole culture is different.
Yeah.
Yet, kindness wherever you go in the world, kindness is never out of fashion and it's never out of place. So
Yes.
it's one of those things like Chanel number 5 that always will live through the ages. And so I think, I'm very, very excited that we've put kindness onto center stage, because I think when kindness is the currency, then all of us are millionaires, and
Absolutely.
we can all be kind.
So well said. My father, who's passed away many years ago, but he always used to say to me, "Beta, you know what? You should always say thank you and please, because it doesn't cost you anything." So kindness was definitely something that he cultivated with the people that he served and his clients and his business, and did so much charity work. So I think that kindness is just the key. It's the key ingredient for me also, and I just love it. And I just think people need to do more of it. It does really enhance relationships. I wanted to ask you about this awards that you're doing. So the next Future of Women Awards. So tell me a little bit more about that, and how are you doing those awards? Is it all a virtual basis?
Yeah, well, the Women of the Future Awards was set up 15 years ago. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary in November. It was last year. We're actually having the awards on the 4th of February this year. And it's going to be, we're using a platform. So it is virtual, but we've tried to add more value instead of just having a pre-recorded award.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole morning, we've got some of our absolutely awesome alumni to come and give. One of our alumni is Sarah Davies, who's the youngest dragon on Dragon's Den, and she started a craft business. She won our award in 2013, and her craft business is, as you can well imagine, crafts have just taken off. So she's giving a keynote. We have Miriam Clegg. We have some amazing people. So we're kind of we're trying to add value, and then Side Business School Oxford is our educational partner. So the day before our awards, they're actually doing a session for about 100 people to talk about women and their careers and transformational leadership. So we've carried on, and we've tried to add more. So I'm really quite, very in debt to all the people who make things like this possible.
That's absolutely fabulous. So how does one kind of, can we all see the awards, or is it something that's just private for that?
No, we can. I can share the link with you. People can go on and register. So I
Yes,
can send you the
that
link.
would be really great for all of us to be inspired, and just to see what's happening, in the women, and who are leaders, and it's just lovely to see people's successes and celebrate them, isn't it?
It's amazing because I think we're cross-sectoral. We have 15 categories of awards. So we have people from ballerinas to scientists to, as I said, an astronomer, structural engineers, entrepreneurs. I mean, just it's absolutely mind blowing. And each of those conversations, these women are all under 35.
Yes,
And
I think
what
that's the difference between your Women of Future and the Asian Women Achievement Awards, isn't it? This one is for actually ladies who are uh, younger than
Yes,
35.
emerging leaders, and they can be from any community, whereas the Asian Women of Achievement Awards is any age, but they have to be from Southeast Asia. So that's the difference. It's not, it's the two differences, the age and the region.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I've got that. So anybody that wants to apply for the future, again, for the next award ceremonies, and if somebody wants to be nominated or not, or nominate someone, that is kind of the brief that they need to follow. And I'll list all the details for the award, and the website with all the details for the link for the Women in Future. So tell me, Pinky, what is it that, because you've achieved so much, is there something that is still on your list to achieve, and what is it that your next project, and is there something in the next 5 years that you want to accomplish or you want to do? What is Pinky thinking of for the next 5 years?
Well, I really want to build a network that's global. So now we've got the UK, and we've expanded to Southeast Asia to 11 countries, but now we're expanding some of our programs like kindness, and we're hoping to have a listing of rising stars in ESG. We hope to make that Asia Pac. But my real ambition is how do we connect women around the world and give them a
Yeah.
platform? Because I think, again, we've seen how powerful a platform the globe can be. And so now, with what's happened in terms of technology, we can have people borrowing time zones coming and joining us on all our programs. So but I was really excited over the weekend. The British ambassador in Brunei, for instance, hosted an event for our Women of the Future, invited our nominees and other potential, women who could enter the awards in Brunei. With Brunei again,
Yeah.
it's not really, a country that has huge women's participation, or so it's really nice because it gives people hope. And I
Yes.
think, for all those women I find who have ambition, they don't know how to get there. And so if they meet other people, they're inspired, you get a platform, and you really learn what you can do and not what you shouldn't be doing. So I
Yes.
hope we will have this global platform. What makes me frustrated and sad is that you were saying, that we still need to inspire women. I set up the Asian Women of Achievement about 21 years ago. I didn't think that in 21 years' time we'd still need a platform for Asian women, but we
Yeah.
do, because
Yes.
every little bit helps the next generation. So we have to carry
Absolutely.
on. We can never stop.
I have such amazing women that inspire me every time I have a conversation, and everybody else learns from that woman, and what, how to pick themselves up and have those aha moments, and just changing people's perceptions. So, is there one woman that you can mention that is an inspiration to you, that you look up to, or you feel like, someone that you've been inspired by?
I think it's really hard, Maru.
I know it's hard.
One obviously, different people. Yeah, I think it's very hard to have everything in one person. I think there are different things I've picked up from different people. But
Yeah.
my mother is inspirational. She's 92. She's kind.
Wow.
I
Mashallah.
have never heard her raise her voice in all my life. She still plays Scrabble every Tuesday. She does Sudoku, about 10 puzzles every day. She knits. So she's inspirational. But then there are other people I've met through the awards, like Elif Shafak, who's like so cerebral but so humble. There's, somebody like Sherry Blair, who's been a huge supporter right from the
Yes.
start.
She's one of your
What's amazing?
ambassadors, isn't she?
Sorry,
She's one of
she's
your ambassadors, isn't she?
she's
Sherry
our patron, and she's our
Patron.
and
Yeah.
she's amazing. She's amazing because if I email her or WhatsApp her, within 5 minutes she's back to you, and I
Yeah.
love that fact.
That's
So
beautiful.
Sherry Blair's another one, Miriam Clegg, who's another very articulate. So there are lots of different people, and
Yeah.
I find it really hard. And there are men too that have inspired me so much.
Yes.
There's Vicky Trudell, who's the British High Commissioner to Australia. Again, a real advocate for women, will always go that extra mile. I love people who are kind but still are self-deprecating. They're not just full of their own sense of self-importance. That to me is the most unattractive quality in any
Yes.
person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are one of my favorite, one of my favorite ladies in the UK. And when I think of somebody inspirational, I think of you. So for me, you have touched people's hearts all over the globe. What is it would you'd like to say to women?
I think everyone should develop their own mantra. So you have to have your. So my mantra is you have not lived a perfect day unless you've done something for someone who can never repay you. And then I'm
Beautiful.
actually plagiarizing here, where there are three things I tell people because this gentleman really inspired me. He said there were three things he wanted people to remember: be curious, so learn; be brave, so go out there, be courageous; and be kind. So I
Oh,
think that encapsulates everything for me, is that
yeah.
also do new things. There was somebody who once said, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And I
Oh,
think that's very important. We tend to stay in our comfort zone. Go
yeah.
out there, learn something new, never give up, never actually spend a day without learning one thing about something.
Yes.
And you will always like, be kind and forgive and forget and move
I
on.
mean, Pinky, I wanted to ask you, what's your real name? Because you know what? I love the fact that your name is Pinky, like it's universal. But do you declare this, that what your name is? Because, I think that many people don't. And I love the fact that it's universal. No one knows. It's kind of incognito. But what is your real name?
It's Nusrat. Nusrat.
Oh, Nusrat.
And it's funny because Benazir Bhutto's nickname was Pinky, and her mother's name was Nusrat.
Oh, I see. I see.
Nusrat means victory, I think. And it was a very old fashioned name that was given at that time. It wasn't my parents' choice, it was my grandparents' choice.
So how did you
But
get the name Pinky?
But you see, in India, a lot of people who were quite fair when they were born in pink. In fact, I was named Pinky before I was named. On my birth certificate, it's Pinky, and they named me Nusrat later. So on my passport, it's Nusrat. But when I had to apply for something and they wanted my birth certificate, it said Pinky. So then my mother had to sign a form saying it's the same person. So my real name is Nusrat.
Oh, wonderful. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And the same reasons for me that I was fair and all pink and everybody used to call me Pinky, but then obviously they started calling me Mariam afterwards. Is there something else that you have not shared with anybody that I'd really like to get something that you haven't disclosed to the world, but you would love to say it, or a little, I don't know, a little secret of yours or something that people don't know about you that you would like to tell them, anything, a hobby or a something that you do that is quirky, and something's a little bit funny, because I must tell everybody that you have got such a brilliant sense of humor. And I saw the TED talk that you did. It was so hilarious. It was last night and I was up until about, I think, 1 o'clock, and I was watching the TED talk and I was laughing so much because you are so funny. You could even do stand-up comedy.
Oh God, I wish, I wish. No, the thing, Mariam, I've always been so open about everything. So yes, there are certain things like, which, just now, like, I mean, this is terrible, but I'm addicted at the present to this game called Wordscape. And I had to take it off my phone because I was like, I suddenly saw I'd spent, like, when I looked at the time, I'd probably spent in the day 3 hours on Wordscape, and then I was so every weekend there's a competition, so I enter that,
Oh,
and
really?
I
Oh,
find
it's so online. So an
yeah, it's
online.
online, and it's just about words, and then the first 30 people get like crowns, and so I stay awake till late because most people have gone to sleep then, and then I can be, because if I finish early, somebody else may beat my score. So I'm there on Wordscape. It's terrible. So yes, I haven't checked the result today to see whether I've got a crown or not. But I have to take it off my phone. But now I've put it back on and I'm more measured. But I do nothing in halves. So
Yeah.
when I want something, I'm really impatient. I get an idea and think, oh my God, how am I going to throw this out to the world? And then
Yeah.
as I said, you keep asking people, and suddenly somebody will say, "Oh wow, I know so and so," and I think that's the joy of doing. I mean, nobody would expect me to spend half my time on Wordscape.
Well, I'll have to check it out, but I don't want to get addicted. But technology is one of those things that we have been addicted to our phone. And I feel like my mom now looking at the phone like this at a distance, thinking, I can't see it. And my mother said to me, Betty, you're getting old. That's what it is. So what do you do for kind of me time then? What is it that you do when you really want to just switch off from the world and just kind of really kind of enjoy your own company? What is the best thing that you do? What's one thing that you kind of go to?
I think I love just talking to people actually. So it's not me time. It is me time because I'm hearing about people and I love that. I have a group of lovely, amazing, amazing friends. And just 10 minutes, I have two or three separate WhatsApp groups and they're all very kind. They're collaborative. So I
Yeah.
love talking to them and, watching some of these series are really, really, that's me. I love walking. So
Oh,
I've started running during the pandemic. So now
wonderful.
I ran. I mean, but then you get excited. You tell someone I'm running now because in July I could only run for about 3 minutes, and now I can run for
Wonderful.
about 23 minutes. But I was
Wow.
telling
Are you
people
running on the
that
treadmill or are you running outside?
no, outside, outside. So I run outside. I have a thing. And I was telling this guy I was talking, guess what? I'm running, very pleased with myself. And he said, Vicky, can I tell you something? Running can be very dangerous. He said, I used to run and then I broke my knee or something. So, oh my
Oh
God.
dear.
That's what I do. But that's why I'm going to get out. And when I start, I don't feel like going. But by the
Yeah.
time I come back, I reward myself with a lovely hot cup of cappuccino.
Oh,
And so I've taken up running in the in during the pandemic, and I'm
that
really pleased that
that
I
is
could.
so fantastic. So some people that can't even get off their sofas and in front of Netflix or on their technology or Zooms, get out there and get some fresh air and and start looking after your health.
Absolutely
That
brilliant.
that's wonderful. So I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to ask you and get your preference on, and this is to do with style and just general life. So we've had snow recently. What is it that you like? Do you like snow or do you like sunshine?
Sunshine. I hate snow.
So you didn't enjoy the snow that we had?
Yeah, I didn't even look outside, leave alone
Okay.
go outside.
Are you a coffee drinker or a chai drinker?
Both, actually. I have 2 cups of tea and then a cappuccino. So that every single day.
Oh, wonderful. Do you like heels or do you like slippers?
I love heels, but my feet don't love the heels. So I think I'm in trainers now most of the time.
Oh, wonderful. And what's your favorite kind of holiday destination? What's on your list? Where do you want to fly off to when the doors open and we can fly?
I love going to Singapore only because my 2 granddaughters are there, and so
Oh,
that's and it's warm and it's easy to get round. But really, I want to go to a couple of new countries. So I'm dying to go to Japan and to Cuba. So
oh,
that's my wish list.
oh, wonderful. And what's one thing in your wardrobe that you can't live without? Like, what is your kind of one item of clothing that you absolutely love? That is your like Mr. Faithful.
Um, well, jeans in terms of my clothing now at home, but I never start a day without my pearls.
Yeah, that's your
Pearls
signature,
are
isn't
part
it?
of. Put my pearls on and my perfume on every morning,
Yeah.
whatever I'm doing,
And
and
what perfume
that's
are you? What's your favorite perfume?
well, there are two actually, and I've used these two for the last 15, 20 years. One is Champs-Élysées by Guerlain, and the other one is
Yeah.
Chanel number 5.
Oh,
So
yeah.
between the two, I always have
My
that,
mother
and I
uses. Yeah, my mother uses that.
yeah,
And so yeah. So do you like
and
mascara or do you like lipstick? Which one do you think is your favorite?
well, lipstick definitely. Mascara, I have not ventured into probably since you styled me. So that's a long time.
Oh, that's wonderful. So how would you describe success in one word?
Doing what you love is
Do
success.
what you love.
Being happy doing what you love. I mean, if you make a lot of money and do things you don't love, to me, that's not success. It really is
And
doing what
is
you
there a
love.
favorite book that you're reading at the moment?
Um, I'm reading a book called Scoff, and it's about food and class. But I must say, my reading has been taken a bit of a downturn during, thanks to Netflix. So I've become seriously
Okay, what are
into
you watching on
Netflix.
Netflix then? What's
But
your what are you watching on
I,
Netflix these days?
I'm so sad. I've just finished an American series called Chesapeake Shores, and it's
Oh,
a
okay.
very, it's really a lovely setting in Maryland and about a family, and I've really loved it. But
Oh,
now I have
wonderful.
saved up The Crown. I haven't yet watched The
Oh
Crown,
my
the last
gosh,
series.
you have to watch it. It's amazing. I live
Yeah,
I live next to Windsor, right? So I'm like a couple of
yeah,
miles away. And I feel so proud and so patriotic. I absolutely love the show, but I absolutely love Windsor and the fact that I'm so close to royalty. I feel so honored. So you have to watch it and you have to tell me what you thought about it.
yeah. I've got the last series left. Obviously, I have saved that up, so I will watch that. And Bridgerton, everybody loved Bridgerton. The
Oh
guy
yes,
was
yes.
amazing. Oh
I've just
my God,
watched that.
he's seriously hot. He's seriously hot.
I love it. So, we're talking about food, how food is like really your kind of common denominator. You really used food to connect with everybody. And for everybody that wants to kind of catch a Pinky's TED Talk, which was absolutely amazing. And Pinky, I use coriander all the time as well. That's my kind of little, that's not that, that's my little trick as well. Stick it in if I don't understand. And I only started cooking after I got married as well. So tell me, what is your signature dish that you love to cook then? Because you mentioned spicy potatoes, but is there something else that you love, like your signature dish?
Well, I do the spicy potatoes all the time because when I'm, talking to an audience, it's very easy to do. But I have to confess, I never eat it because it's not my favorite dish at all. I think I've done too much of it. I actually, what would I say is I love what we call dal gosht, which
Yeah,
is dal with meat. So
yeah.
it's like, with lots of spices. And then I love rice. So I need to eat rice every day. So I love my rice. And so dal gosht and rice would be my soul food, really.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you like biryani or naan?
Biryani. Did you say biryani?
Biryani lover.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think there's a comparison. Biryani each time.
Yeah. So tell me, what is the importance? We're going to finish on this question. So, what is the importance, I would like to say, about having your own style? Because, you see, what I love is I love talking about style and success. And when I was styling women, it was, there were CEOs, there were leaders, there were professionals. And and for me, styling them was just such a privilege. And I learned so much about their story and their accomplishments. Tell me about like the importance of a woman's style and looking after their grooming. What do you think about that?
Very important because your style defines you in a way. If you don't define it, then somebody else will define it for you. So I think you have to pick out what you feel you stand for. So for me, it's like I like to wear bright colors, and I like to have sometimes wear jewelry that stands out. But I think I quite like a minimalistic pattern too.
Yes.
So I think it's really what I'm comfortable in. I don't feel comfortable if I'm tottering in high heels, even though it looks amazing, it transforms you. But I think it's
Yeah.
very much what reflects you. So I like the fact that,
Yeah.
I love pearls, I love diamonds. Do I wear them as often? I haven't worn my rings today, but I always wear rings. And I
Yeah.
think people will always remember me by, they say, my knuckle dusters. So I think, we all know the colors that really suit us. So I
Yes.
think it's to things like that that you're
Yeah.
comfortable with, but yet are. I like classics, so those
Yes.
things that will last for years. So
Yes.
it's very much a
Absolutely.
classic style in that way.
Absolutely. Pinky, me and you share some real kind of the same kind of values, but also the same name. My nickname when I was young, I was called Pinky. So when I saw that your name is Pinky, and I was like, oh my gosh! Sometimes I actually, and everybody says, oh my God, you're just like Pinky. So when I'm doing an event or something, I've actually had a couple of people say, oh, you're like Pinky. So for me, that's an absolute honor. I absolutely love and adore you, and I wish you all the success in the future. I had such fun talking to you. You're such an inspiration and a true champion of women. And inshallah, I hope that I can give you a big hug when I see you next time and when things are all settled, and see you at one of the fabulous events that you're continuing to do.
Thank you so much. It's been a huge honor and privilege, and your energy, your zest for life comes through the Zoom. Thank you for asking me, and inshallah, we will meet soon.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Pinky, and look after yourself. And I really want you to join Clubhouse. That's the latest platform.
Okay, brilliant.
Take care, my
Thanks.
darling. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Take care. Bye bye.